Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you hear me, Rev? Thank goodness. Why am I getting no music now, though? Are you hearing something music-wise? Can you hear me? Good. Do not hear the music. It looks like broadcast. Let me turn it up a bit. Just want to make sure it's there, but also I'm not hearing it. Got me a little. Okay, I hear it now. I seem too far away from my mic. How about now? So, I've had the craziest week. Let me turn up my mic, make sure it's working. Test, 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 test. Okay, so last Monday my stream kept crashing, right? Those of you that were here last week. And by the way, welcome to the stream, Dr. DDT. Timber, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. I'll make sure all my chat feeds are working right now before we get into it. Good, glad to hear it. Welcome to the stream. We're just getting started. I was just having some technical difficulties, so. Anyway, we're going to... Anyway, so basically there's some hardware on my computer that's failing, okay? And either everything in my computer is dying all at once, or my motherboard is failing, is what I'm thinking. So the capture card in my computer, my stream computer last week, was just not working, okay? And by that I mean I would restart my computer and the capture card wouldn't register any video going through it. So like no matter how hard I tried, it would not register. But the capture card would pass through the video from anything going through it. My computer screen would show the video that it was passing through. So it was getting power and the passive features in the card were working, but the card wasn't registering as a device in the computer and the card was just not working. Like there was no video that I could stream. Like it wasn't showing DA. So, hey Saint, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. I will have a good stream. Thank you, thank you. So I basically was trying to troubleshoot it, figure it out, and I thought, hey, it's the capture card having problems. So I got approval from, you know, the guys upstairs to get a new capture card. I ordered one, which was supposed to be here Friday to get in plenty of time to install it before Saturday's stream. And it ended up not showing up Friday. It ended up showing up Saturday after the stream had ended. So basically the damn challenge stream had to be postponed because this critical piece of hardware that I need to run my stream wasn't there. Now, I, you know, started looking over everything else in my computer and I noticed that not all of my RAM was registering. My computer has 64 gigabytes of RAM. There's 4 16 gigabyte sticks and only 32 gigabytes were registering. So I'm like, well, that's weird. I pull up the manual to figure out the RAM configuration, the DIMM configuration, and then I turn off the computer, disable the power supply, unplug everything. I pull out the RAM sticks to start testing what's what. And then somehow in doing this, basically all of my RAM sticks are fine, but the B-side bus, if you know what RAM slots are about, there's an A side and a B side. There's 2 slots in each. And the B-side bus is like dead, non-responsive. If I put a good stick of RAM, it doesn't work. So basically, because the B-side bus is dead, I can't just put 2 16 gigabytes in my A-side slots and call it a day. It's only recognizing 16, so 1 of 4 slots, because basically A1 and B1 work in tandem, and A2 and B2 work in tandem. But since none of the B side works, I'm only getting 16 gigabytes. Yeah, it sounds like a motherboard issue. So everything on my motherboard is slowly having issues. USB, my graphics card, my capture card. But the capture card's replaced, it's working right now, whereas the other one was not. So I think the motherboard may have zapped it or killed it. And it may be having issues. It could be a power supply, or it could be the motherboard. But this motherboard is old. It's old, okay? I bought it when Fry's was still a store, and I bought it before the pandemic sometime. So I think it was like 2016. So it is like bound to die, right? Anyway, sorry of the random input of my last week, but I've spent the last week troubleshooting, plugging in, unplugging, opening my computer, pulling things out. So I found one issue and it spiraled into many other issues. And I'm pretty sure this motherboard is dying. That's my main kind of conclusion. Because if everything on the spine of the computer is having problems, it's probably the spine. My graphics card will stop working randomly because I take my computer, unplug it, turn it on its side, and then when I go back, the graphics card isn't working. But when I plug it into another computer, it works just fine. So I'll unplug it, reseat it, plug it back in, and it works. So something's going on with the motherboard, definitely. But the thing is man, this is like a cascading issue. So I'm running on 1/4 of the amount of RAM I normally have for the stream, and all of the hardware at any given point could just give out. So yeah, it's very fun. Yep, right, Spencer, you get it. Anyway, so that was my week in technology hell, okay? My son's happy though, because he's gonna be able to pilfer parts from my computer. He's gonna get an upgrade of RAM. I'm getting a new motherboard, new RAM, new power supply. I'm just gonna upgrade the whole unit. But this computer that's dying is not the one that I run DA on. It's the computer that I run the stream on. All it does is run the stream. And normally when it runs the stream, it takes up about 4% of the CPU to just run the stream. The only thing on the computer is like some music, a browser, Discord, and the stream software. And basically, normally it runs at like 4% CPU to run the stream. Right now, it's struggling and it's at like 15%. And that's after I trimmed every excess thing on the computer in the background, removed anything old like effects from the stream that weren't in use or images, because they are still kind of passively in the background even if they're not being used. So yeah, I had to do a lot to get today's stream to run. So I've got some parts on order to essentially build a new computer in the next few days. Thank you, and due in part to, you know, my boss is allowing me to expense a new capture card, but also like a private sponsor who told me to just get a whole new computer instead of a motherboard. So I was gonna just replace the motherboard and kind of go from there, but it looks like I'm gonna get a whole new computer. So there's a few fans of the stream who like it to run as best as it can, and yeah, anyway, one of them's helping me out. Hey! Andres, how you doing? Hello there. General Kenobi! Count Dooku has trained me in your Jedi arts. But it's not the map that's hurting it, it's just all the stream software running. Anyway, let's get back to Mapmaker Monday because I got to build a lot of graves, okay? Because I didn't get to build last week because of all this, and then I didn't get to build anything all week because I was so focused on my computer. It has been a rigmarole, let's just say that, to keep this all functional. Hey, Geek, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Okay. Wow, that's awesome. I've heard Elijah's pretty wholesome. Like, he's a pretty chill dude. He's also like a really good voice actor. I told people last stream that one of my favorite shows, I watch it this time of year because it's that, you know, it's just the right time of year. It's the creepy season, you know what I mean? But every year my family and I, we like to watch Over the Garden Wall, which was like a mini series on Cartoon Network a few years ago, and it was so good. I guess it's like over 10 years ago now. Do we have any fans of our Over the Garden Wall? Geek Arcs, fine, and you? I just bought Dungeon Alchemist and I have your stream to begin. Well, that's a good place to start, actually. During the stream, you can ask questions in AMA format, which means ask me anything. So if you've got any Dungeon Alchemist related inquiries, let me know in chat and I will show you in real time. I'll teach you. In fact, you can call me Professor Mac if you'd like. This is the official Dungeon Alchemist channel. We stream several times a week. 2 times a week are multi-streams like today. So every Monday and Saturday are multi-streams. And then on Wednesday, we do a Discord exclusive stream. A grave with a pet rock. That's a rock fact. We'll put a pet rock on one of them. Just because you said that, Scooby. So by the way, I'm talking to multiple chat feeds right now. We're live on 6 different platforms. We're live on Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Steam. And a quick heads up to everyone watching, Dungeon Alchemist is on sale, 20% off for another 45 minutes. The sale ends today, very soon-ish. So definitely make sure that if you're interested in Dungeon Alchemist and it's kind of been on your wish list or you're considering it, sitting on the fence, if you want to get a good deal on it, now's the time. Watch these streams to make your maps magical. Kind of like mathematical, is that what you're going for? But welcome to the community, Geek Arts. I am so happy to have you here. As the community manager, I always love meeting new members of our community who, you know, just got a copy of Dungeon Alchemist and kind of guiding them through their journey. I know it can be a little bit intimidating at first, but at the same time, it's so fun to kind of learn and grow into this new tool and figure out all the fun stuff it can do. Okay. Adding graves. We're gonna keep adding graves. So if you hold shift when you place an object, it automatically duplicates the object. And by place, it means before you finalize its location by left clicking. So, and this particular grave I've chosen, every time you place a grave, it shifts into a new style called a variant. So a lot of objects in Dungeon Alchemist are are variants. They're pre-decorated items like tables, for instance, that have stuff on them already. If you press tab before you finalize the location, it will shift between those variants. Notice how it's like almost different every time. We pre-decorate a bunch of these, so when you place them either in a room generation or place them every time, it kind of shifts to a different one to kind of give it some variety. The stream is magnificent. Hey, I like that one. These graves are a similar style. Watch, every time I press tab, it's a different version of the grave, and there's like hundreds of variations. I like it a lot. Hey, TikTok, thank you for all the likes. You're amazing. Let's keep it up with those Mac puns. I like I like when y'all are trying to butter me up. But we need to avoid anything macaroni or Big Mac because those are played out. I've heard those 1,000 times. Crickets. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to do this row like this. That said, we could potentially start doing graves along this side, like here-ish. If we delete this and maybe put a statue. Or someone was robbing said grave. The choose your own adventure, really. Oh, where are those stones? I think they're under structural and ruin. Yes, there's like this one that's a broken one. There's a couple different ones. So this one here, do a little mason work there. So, Jack, why you robbing my graveyard, man? Make these graves smaller, which makes it messed up because they're like kid graves. Hey, Chim. 3 points for Chim. Figure out Man, that's some crazy wind if it's dropping gold in your hand. Yes. I'm pretty sure Mondu hates puns, so yes. Oh, speaking of eye twitching, my eye was twitching all night, and I think it was from the stress of dealing with my computer all like the last few days, non-stop. and I just had trouble sleeping because my darn eye kept twitching. In fact, it's twitching right now. Geek, you're actually spot on there. I've said that many times. That really the only limit with Dungeon Alchemist is your own imagination and creativity. We give you a very big sandbox and toolbox to use said sandbox. So, like when I was younger, I always loved video games that came with a map builder, or I like map building games. Games like The Sims, where you'd build up a little like a home setting, or Sim City, where you build up a city. Later on in life, I got into games like Halo that had, the ability to build your own maps at later points in the Halo, franchise, and I enjoyed that thoroughly, or like make modifications to the maps at least. Far Cry did that as well. I always loved that, and I also enjoyed drawing maps on paper when I was like in school, or when I was in D&D as a kid. So I have always enjoyed that like aesthetic, that kind of thing, right? But this toolbox gives you so much functionality, and allows you to really just kind of let your imagination run wild, right? You can essentially, take your creativity to 11. And it's like, you just started painting, and you have the easel and the all of the the palette for all your paints and brushes, and you've got all your tools and you're ready to go, right? So really the only thing holding you back is just practice. Yeah, it is kind of kit bashing too. It's a term that a lot of people use nowadays, and that is exactly what you do in Dungeon Alchemist. Hey Eric, hope you're well. And also excited for Sunday. Oh. Ruckus outside. It's the garbage man. Enjoy your lurk, Eric. Oh yeah, you told me you were going to be doing that. I just couldn't remember when. That's cool. I'm glad it went well. Did you end up marrying them in game? Or isn't that what you were going to be doing? Like performing the ceremony in character? Or weren't you saying something like that, or am I crazy? Maybe I'm making it up. I don't know. Or maybe I'm thinking of a TV show. Goodness. We had 12 players, 10 of them got married to each other. That's right. We were talking about it being a real life ceremony casting, right? That's right. That's correct. Okay. Fantastical. Just going to run this pathway down a bit so I have like some work room. I also put this line here so I can keep this pathway somewhat straight and like on a concurrent path as I run down this edge. No, it's because when you talk to him, he goes, that's my dad joke of the day. My license allows me to say one of those at least per day, per DM. Several per DM, actually. Let's see here. At least 6 per DM. My son has to sigh quite a bit. So I'm trying to figure out how we should continue this patterning. No, this is just a tool I do by hand because I'm making all this by hand. There are tools to speed things up and do things in straight lines. Like we have a grid you can use, and a lot of the items snap to a grid. Especially when you have collisions on, like an item will snap onto the grid. But I'm making it difficult on myself by doing everything by hand. And I'm way too deep into this to kind of start snapping it to the grid now. Like if you look at this cemetery, it is something to behold. Let me give you a quick tour. So what started over in this little entryway here, right, has evolved into a massive, let's see, what time is the 85 by 82 map. You got your little entry road area. I did this road by hand using our terrain tool. But you can also use the room tool to make nice straight roads. If you go under village and select alley, and then under the AI settings, just disable objects and walls, it then draws floors only. Alley floors are roads. So there you go. That essentially allows you to draw nice like city streets. That's how I made like this little area here, the roundabout in the center. But you could take this kind of tool here and draw out a little bit and then rotate it, and I could link it onto here and make like a road if I wanted to. Tight or not, but good question, Jack. Probably a tree or a statue. Gonna take a moment to generate because this map is so huge. But yeah, I'm in too deep now to really like use the tools that like automate things. And I actually prefer to build by hand because I like teaching our community advanced techniques. So the stream is about learning basic and advanced techniques, because Dungeon Alchemist is kind of like, you can just dive in and make maps in moments with everything you're given. But also there's a lot of advanced stuff like these AI settings here, things that are good to know. Dang, man, I shouldn't have generated this. This is crazy. It's taking its time. Normally doesn't take this long, but I think it's just this map is huge, has thousands of assets. I'll wait. In fact, if Windows or Mac tells you to close the program or wait, just wait. Click wait. Be patient. Don't worry. Be happy. Ooh. So yeah, I didn't line it up with the other road, but you get the idea. Nice little carved road. But I don't like that, so I'm going to undo it with a Control Z, which will probably take a moment too. There we go. All done. Lesson learned. But there's several ways to build in Dungeon Alchemist. There is the automation tools by drawing rooms or generating maps, and then the other is placing objects by hand. So it's really just two trains of thought. You can merge the two together, or you can do it entirely by hand or entirely with generation and like speedy tools. I think a statue would be a good one here. Let's see here. Hope the music isn't too loud, by the way. If it is too loud or it's like overbearing, let me know. Or if you hear sound twice or anything like that, let me know, because I just configured this whole new capture card in my computer, and as a result of it, which everything kind of reset. What software am I using to make the map? This is Dungeon Alchemist, just after the namesake of the channel. This is the official Dungeon Alchemist channel. Dungeon Alchemist is a map-making tool available on Steam that allows you to build maps in a snap. You can generate environments and moments, you know, forests, grasslands, deserts, dunes, Feywilds, etc., cave systems, or and you can also generate homes to go on them. So, you know, taverns, parks, magic shops, farmsteads, etc., and everything in between. Additionally, you have an object set of over like 6,500 objects, tons of doors, windows, walls, and floors, tokens that you can place in the maps for like added immersion or to explore the maps in first person, which is pretty fun. Oh gosh, that's going to take a minute. But you can walk around the map and kind of see the perspective of how your players might see it. You can take screenshots like this or record it or even stream it to your players over like Discord or Zoom, etc. You can make as massive maps as you want as long as your computer specs will allow it. So the size of a map you can make is directly proportionate to your computer specs. So if you've got like a hamster-powered PC, probably not a good idea to build massive maps. If you've got a machine that's like really recently built and top of the line and can handle streaming, gaming, 3D rendering, stuff like that, you can build maps easily up to, you know, 200 by 200 or more. I with my machine that I'm on now, I can build maps up to 150 by 150 without issues. There's people with more powerful machines or even virtual machines that build even more than that. Well, a continent might be difficult unless you use something like forced perspective. There are a few regional and overworld maps that have been made using Dungeon Alchemist, and they're shared on Steam Workshop, so you can get an idea. But what people will do is they make a biome and then they'll make objects smaller, so it looks like, you know, at range, it looks like a little village or, you know, like a road and all that stuff. Yeah, it definitely helps. When you're building a big map, it helps to turn down the quality in DA too, because you can squeeze out some extra frames. You can disable animations, stuff like that. By the way, Dungeon Alchemist is on sale until the Steam summer or fall sale ends, which is in 25 minutes. So not trying to rush you, but if you want to get the best possible deal, that's how you can grab it. We do offer a free demo where you can download and try Dungeon Alchemist on your computer, kind of see how it runs before you buy. I will say the demo only gives you access to one of our like 10 plus biomes and only like one room type out of like almost 100 room types. And it's like a limited set because it's a demo. The full version gives you access to Steam Workshop, which gives you a repository of over 12,700 maps shared by our community, and access to over 10,700 3D models that have been shared by our community, many of which enhance the fantasy aesthetic, but some dive into themes that aren't provided in our tool, such as sci-fi, cyberpunk, modern, apocalyptic, etc. Hey, Mondu, how you doing, buddy? By the way, Hydra Taco, welcome to the stream. If you have any other questions, let me know. Putting it on your wish list? Fair enough. We'll probably be on sale around the holidays, I'd imagine. We typically participate in every major Steam sale, but, you know, it's case by case. Okay, let's get back to putting in our grave. The grave situation. And I also remember I haven't saved in a hot minute. I'm playing it fast and loose. Remember, ABS, always be saving. And under the save settings, you can actually configure auto saves. So once you've saved and named your map once, and if you have the auto save interval set and enabled, it'll create an auto save right next to your main save at the interval you configure it to. So 1, 5, 15, 30, or 60 minutes. And then it overwrites that auto save at that interval. So 5 minutes, whatever it is. By the way, y'all, I did get approval for some Halloween costumes. So I'm going to be ordering those today, okay, or in the next couple of days. Hydra Taco, so Dungeon Alchemist is a map-making tool and immersion utility. It is not a virtual tabletop. So you make the maps in this tool, and you can capture, you know, screenshots and video for handouts, or even stream it to your players for more immersion. But the maps you export are meant to be exported in a number of different ways. You can export them for print, for local play, or digital files if you have a TV tabletop or a projector tabletop. You can export through our partner Kraken War Games as a game mat, and they'll print it and ship it out to you. And then we also offer compatibility with a number of virtual tabletops, including the major 3 virtual tabletops, Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, and Roll20. So our maps export to those main virtual tabletop companies. It includes all the wall, window, door, lighting, line of sight information, etc. So essentially, when you make a map in Dungeon Alchemist and export it for any of those platforms, depending on your preference, it comes with, you know, some of them include data that makes it more streamlined and speeds up the DM process, and others just give you more immersion tools like an overlaid grid. There are people who play in person who use Dungeon Alchemist as a play tool because they use like a TV or a projector tabletop. They end up, you know, going in like a top-down mode, enable the grid, and would, you know, essentially you can disable the UI, right, on this, and use it as kind of like a play space for your players. That being said, you know, there's no fog of war or anything tools like that are reasonable tools. Hey, Belladonna, how you doing? Welcome back. So if you're playing in person, character sheets are usually done, you know, like digitally on a device or, you know, in hand with paper. If you're playing online, you usually use like a virtual tabletop to supplement, and that's where your character sheets are. So it's essentially, it's a tool to help improve your map making workflow, speed it up. AR, can I ask you a quick question in regards to your statement there? So AR on TikTok says, I noticed when I export the map with Foundry that the wall is not aligned to the grid. So one thing to take into consideration when you're exporting a map, depending on the size of the map, alignment may become a problem as you get closer to the edge. And let me explain why. So Dungeon Alchemist, as you notice, it's got this lovely 3D perspective. Did you notice that when I went into that, it kind of popped? Watch, this is like a fun angle for building, but then we've got a flattened top down, which is kind of the traditional style of tabletop gaming, a flattened top down map. Then we have a 3D popping kind of perspective version, right? So when you have a very massive map, let's say it's over 50 by 50, which we do give a warning about when you start creating over that size. If when you export for virtual tabletops such as Foundry, let me show you what I mean. Hey, Max, thank you. Thank you for supporting us for so long. I appreciate it. Where is the export window? Okay. So notice here you have some perspective options in the export window. If you change it from perspective 3D, especially on a massive map, to a top down, look at this house over here. Like the walls, you can see they're kind of stretched out and vertical, right? The trees are that way too. They kind of stretch out over the edge. If you make it flattened, now it doesn't have as much overhang and push outward. It doesn't bubble out as much. So because the perspective camera is centered in the center of your build, when you have a massive map, say over 50 by 50, if you export with a 3D perspective where it gives that kind of bubbled field, near the edge of the map, it'll start looking a little misaligned. Instead of aligning with the top of the wall, it aligns with the bottom, I believe. So because the wall stretches out further away from the edge that you get from the center, right? There are methods to work around this. What some people do is they'll extend the canvas of their map. Yeah, you can extend your borders in your export as well. So in the export menu, you have border options. So there's normal borders, small borders, right? That also helps with the perspective a bit if it's... what I've heard is if the border is larger, right, and you extend the border even beyond that, like if you go to the edge of your map and extend the border out, say 20 on each end or 10 on each end, beyond the edge, and don't put anything out there, it's just dead space, right? That, or you put like a blank kind of wall out there. One of our creators in our community has noticed it focuses the center more, and then the edges get more fisheyed instead. So it ends up aligning more on the map surfaces. Shoot, I think in our Discord there's a tutorial on it. I just can't remember exactly how it works. Is Sack here right now by chance? Just hoping he's lurking. Hey Max, what is your favorite part of Dungeon Alchemist? I'd love to hear about it. Hey, Imagini Del Fronte, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. What I would ask from you, AR, is if you could pop into our Discord and share the map and the images or a screenshot of what you're seeing, we could take a look at it. Also, if you could screenshot your export settings, you know that export window I showed you there? If you're in Windows, if you type Win-Shift-S, you can just grab a screenshot of like an area on your window, and then you can paste that into chat anywhere, like in Discord or, you know, DMs or whatever. It's a cool way to quickly get an image from somewhere. You can screenshot the whole screen or just a portion of it. That's Win-Shift-S for Windows. I'm not sure what it is on Mac. But if you hop into our Discord, which you can find the Discord link through our website, which is on our profile, AR. Sorry, I can't share links in the TikTok chat, or I would. But if you jump in our Discord and spin up create a thread in the question forum, share the map, say, you know, Max sent me over here from TikTok. I'm having issues with my walls not aligning. Oh, you're in the Discord already? Perfect. Honestly, it could be something too, like a bug. If it's in the center, if it's way misaligned, it could be a bug. We did just have a huge patch to patch a security vulnerability from Unity. And the devs said there might be random, bugs or gremlins, creeping out as a result of which. So you may have found something buggy. Typically, though, that is only an issue with massive maps near the end. By the way, everyone, only 15 minutes until the sale ends. Canary, how you doing? Welcome back. Every time I see your name, it reminds me of those like videos on TikTok where it's like a mashup, right? Like a stitch of a bunch of birds singing or like there's one bird singing like metal, like a canary, and then everybody starts like adding in instruments to it. Have you seen those, right? And the bird's just rocking out. Yeah, they crack me up. Darn it. We're gonna have to bring these over just a little bit, so put like one more grave. Some happy little graves. Okay, so my costumes that I've got approved. Bob Ross definitely is happening, okay? And also the Dungeon Alchemist. So I'm gonna be dressing up kind of like a mad alchemist, kind of steampunkish vibe. So streams after I get the costumes will be, you know, dress up streams. Deleted it. For sure. I want to make sure we I want to make sure we can see it at least just to get a good like handle on the situation. Based on what you're saying, it doesn't sound right. So how was everyone's weekend? And I'm sorry, the last couple, you know, multi-streams were a bust. For those that missed out on story time earlier, basically my capture card was dead. It was dying during Monday's stream. Hey, Wicker of Jack, thank you for the follow, by the way. A few minutes back, just noticed that, so my bad. So the capture card was dying last stream. The stream just kept resetting, so something was wrong. I got an approval to get a new capture card, ordered it. New capture card was supposed to show up Friday, showed up Saturday afternoon. So I didn't get it in time to install it and set it up before Saturday's stream. So as a result, missed 2 streams. And while I'm investigating my computer further, I noticed half of my RAM isn't working. So 32 gigabytes of 64 gigabytes aren't working. And I was confused. And then I start, you know, pulling apart my computer to test the RAM. And by the end of it, for some reason, only 16 gigabytes is working. So I think my B-side bus, it was dying, and when I pulled the RAM out, it just killed it. So one of the slots in my B-side bus died, and as a result of which, one of the slots on my A-side bus wasn't working because they work in parity, and then the other one in the B-side went out, so only my A-side bus works, which means I can only have 16 of 64 gigs unless I buy a 32 gig slot, or RAM stick, just for this computer. So the other costume is just the Dungeon Alchemist is what I'm calling it. So I'm essentially going to dress up like kind of like a steampunk alchemist. Imagine just kind of like leather shoulder pieces, files, like a chest cross piece, you know, like something steampunkish. Goggles. That or like maybe like a, what do they call that? A plague doctor mask, one or the other. Good, had our kiddo this weekend. That's awesome. Well, on my main, so I have 2 computers running the stream, right? One is running DA. That one has 128 gigabytes of RAM. But getting back to the stream computer, that one's kind of an older machine that I had before I started with DA. It was my stream computer. Before I had a 2-computer setup, I used to run DA and the stream on the same machine. Could only get so much quality, so many frames per second. It was kind of a drain on the quality and the overall performance of the stream. A very interested, you know, member of our community sponsored me to get like a new computer. So I got a second computer essentially where it's just all it does is run DA during the stream, right? So it gets much better performance and can run most of the big maps on the community on the Steam Workshop. But my stream computer is very old. The parts in it are like from 2015. So the motherboard, the CPU, the solid state drive, it terrifies me. All of it is very old, right? The only new stuff in there is and the GPU is old, but there's like it's a new tower, a new power supply unit, and a new liquid cooler. That's all that's new in there. This computer, my stream computer, is like over 10 years old, Asmodeus. My old one that I've had for forever. So I have two, as you know that, dude. One of them's the new one, the newer one that's like a couple years old, and that one runs DA. But the stream computer, the parts in it are from like 2015, 2016. I bought them when Fry's Electronics was still a thing, and they closed like 4 or 5 years ago. The issue could be that I'm using Imgur to import the image part of the map, but Imgur doesn't reduce. Wait, why are you using Imgur? Where are you putting the maps? I'm confused. Can you tell me more about your setup, AR? Please tell me. I'd love to know more about what you're doing. But yeah, my computer that's driving the stream right now is like over a decade old. So that thing is... No, it's not bad at all. Like, I got a good amount of use out of it. And like, I feel like the investment was solid. So I remember at the time I wanted a computer and I was working for Uber in Vegas to like get extra money. And I did like Uber for like 3 months to get the money I needed for this computer. And it was a nightmare. Uber in Vegas is like a whole different animal than like a regular town, I feel like. But anyway, I got all the money together, ended up building a computer, and I was using it I upgraded from a way old machine, and I was streaming on my own because I was partnered with, I think it was Mixer at the time, which Mixer is no longer exists. The platform used to be part of Microsoft, and then they pulled the plug. Like, woke up one day and my side income was gone. Super cool. AR, doesn't Imgur compress the media though? So it doesn't reduce the image size, but it compresses it to be like less quality, right? It wasn't 2 weeks, man. I streamed on Mixer for 3+ years. What killed it was when they brought over the big stars from Twitch, because they spent $60 million on contracts in 1 year on people like Ninja, right? When they probably should have invested it in their local talent. So, AR, I'm wondering, I do think Imgur does compress the images. But where are you pasting that to? Like, are you streaming that somewhere to your players? Or you playing online? You playing in person? Tell me more about your setup here so I can understand how you're using the maps. Because the more I know, the more I can understand. Right now, it's like I'm a mechanic and I'm trying to fix your car, but I need to know, the model of it, and so I can understand like what parts and tools I'm going to need to assess the situation. What year is it, what make, model, how many miles are on it. So if you could tell me what you're trying to do, your overall configuration and setup, the more I know, the better I can help, my man. Also, your export settings. For the map can make a lot of difference in how big the file is too. Like if you're exporting at higher DPI or lower DPI, it can make a lot of difference. So I'm thinking I'm gonna just switch to smaller graves over here. That way I can kind of cut them along this edge here easier. I've been thinking about this for the last 5 minutes, kind of quietly, because I wasn't sure how to address this situation here. This alignment. Yeah, I think we need more data. A Discord setup for this will be good because we can look at it and understand what you're doing. But Imgur will compress most, even Discord compresses your images. A lot of companies compress stuff now, especially web-based services. Darn it. So used to failure the second I saw one. I'm just going to delete that off. It's waiting for it to shift in. Yeah, it's definitely going to reduce it a lot, my friend. So you're probably getting some compression, which makes it garbly. You know what I mean? That's a bummer. I'm sorry. But if we know more about how you're trying to play, maybe we can make a suggestion to change it to make it more streamlined, or some tools to make it more streamlined. Man, I haven't thought of Imgur since Dig. Didn't even know people still used Imgur. That's crazy. Talk about like a throwback. Thank you for those. That blast from the past. That's so cool. I didn't even know it was still around. Oh, so you use images on Imgur and you host your games on Forge. Why not use like a Google Drive or like a Dropbox instead? Because those won't compress and you can still set them to public. Most likely. I don't think those compress. Like you can set the file to anyone with the link can view it. Yeah, do PNG for images like this. If you, well, it'll export as a JPEG, but if you can convert it to a PNG. Is it? I just always have pronounced it Imgur. That's funny. I've never really heard it pronounced out loud, so that makes sense. Dunder Mifflin is a part of Sabre. Like the same energy. Saber. Ooh, whoa. Dunder Mifflin is a part of Saber. Honestly, that's why I always thought it was Imgur. Like, it's funner to say, and it just rolls. Yes, Hydra Taco, ask away. By the way, these streams are AMA format, which means ask me anything. So as long as you got Dungeon Alchemist related inquiries or tabletop related inquiries, ask away and I will do my best to provide insight and guidance. Yeah, I suggested Google Drive to them. AR, I kind of understand what you're trying to do, but yeah, it compressing it could cause you issues in the long run. Google Drive, like I said, you can upload to there and then you could set the file to public so anyone with the link can view it, and then you put that link and you're good to go. You're trying to make a cave. Yes, sir, Hydra Taco. Are you in the demo right now? Or did you end up buying DA? Because the full version versus the demo can make a lot of difference. So I will say this, the demo is limited to a single biome, which is the forest biome right here, right? So to make a cave, you actually have to add the cave to the environment yourself, okay? So normally you can actually generate a cave, just a cave biome, and it's like a whole cave system, or you can carve caves relatively easy. But if you're in a biome that doesn't have a cave natively, you have to add the cave by going to the terrain tool here in the left toolbar. Let me turn on the mouse highlighter. I didn't realize it was off. So in the mouse, in the left toolbar, click this terrain tab here. Then you go to the third tab, which is draw caves. Okay. You could set your brush size to small or large, and then you hit raise cave area. You find the area you want to add a cave to. So let's say you wanted to add a cave kind of with some mountains in the forest, right? You raise that cave area up. So this would kind of be like a mountain range at the edge of a forest. Imagine that, if you will, for a moment, okay? And then you use once you have the raised cave area up, you can carve into it with the carve tool, which appears. Kind of start getting into it. And this is how you add a cave to a map that doesn't have a cave system. Notice how easy that is to carve. And essentially, it's just like, oh, there's a mouth of a cave out here. If you want, you can get technical with it. Keep in mind, it shows the top down here. But if you want, one thing I love to do, let's see here, arch. Got these like rock arches. Fun. Make sure collisions are disabled. Make the rock arch kind of large. Sink it into the ground right at the mouth of the cave, and it really adds that immersive feel, right? And then we also have other rocks which kind of match this kind of same aesthetic. You could start putting them around the outside edge to make it feel just kind of more a natural opening. Stuff like that. Another thing too, if the cave opening's simply immersive, like you're gonna have another map for the cave. Like a lot of people, when they have a cave system, usually have a separate map for a separate encounter, separate instance to load. A new scene, if you will. Kind of mix it, and it just makes it feel more immersive. You could do that all the way around and inside if you want. Now that being said, I'm gonna undo this. It's fun to sculpt the landscape, isn't it, Hydra? What was I getting at? I forgot my train of thought. I am so sorry. I totally lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. When you have the full version of DA, though, you can make cave maps, like an entire cave map. Here, let me save this and I'll show you. Oh, what I was going to get at is the arch thing, like an immersive entrance. So let's say you just wanted, like, this was on a bunch of rocks and you just say this is a cave entrance, right? What I like to do here is you can insert what we have these called, they're called abstract walls, right? That one kind of curves a little bit. You can make it full size there. And then you insert just a full black image into it. And then it feels like a dark cave entrance. So from the view of your players, like, or a perspective like this, you know, imagine there was like a rock facing here. That's the opening, the entrance, and then they load into a new map, which is a cave map, which I'll show you now. So let me save this, save it twice, just as nice, and then we'll generate a new map that is a cave system, just to show you how easy. So I'll select the cave biome. You can select solid rock if you want to carve it. It'll just give you a slab of stone and you can start carving at it. Or you can select cave system, labyrinth, large cavern, etc., and they're all slightly different in generation. You can fill it with lights, torches, etc., or no lights. So I'm going to hit create. This generates a whole environment in moments. So Dungeon Alchemist's environment generation and room generation tools are powered by our proprietary localized procedural AI. And when I say AI, I want to assure everyone it's nothing like most modern generative AIs. In fact, it's nothing like it. It's last gen, kind of a dumb AI. It doesn't rely on server farms or stealing people's art or data to, feed it and train it. It's trained entirely in-house using proprietary data sets made by our dev team, using maps created by our dev team to train it, using assets in the maps created in-house by our talented team of artists. So at no point are any public data sets, art, maps, or otherwise used to train our AI, and the AI runs locally from your computer, so it only uses the power your computer uses to generate maps. So not only is it ethical in design and sourcing, and creation and development, but it's ethical in its use too. It has a singular focus, which is generating environments and rooms. That's it. Making maps. Anyway, so a lot of people will see AI and they immediately kind of go to their, go to armchair warrior status. And I understand AI, if done unethically, is very bad. And I do feel for artists and writers and people whose work is being stolen and used to train AI in an unethical manner. So I definitely sympathize with that and I understand that, but not all AIs are created equally. And there are plenty of usages for AI that is ethical in its design and use cases. Anyway, just wanted to educate anyone who may be new to our community who was wondering about that or curious. Yeah, because the DA AI has a specific focus on generating environments and rooms, right? That's all it does. It's really good at it. Notice it generated this cave in moments, right? Let's regenerate it. I'm just going to go in and hit change terrain to change the environment. What was... But you see here, it's a different cave every time. Let's add a little river inside. True shot, thank you for the like, much appreciated. It's really fun to just generate environments and moments. So Forgotten Death, I will tell you right now, the current AI build is actually from prior to Fun with Objects launched. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of the generation doesn't include Fun with Objects at all. So there's very limited scope of new AI, and that was partially because they didn't want to delay the update even more until the end of the year. That's why Fun with Objects was split in two. The AI is getting fine-tuned with new objects and improvements, especially around rooms that are larger. Typically, most rooms in a fantasy or a past environment weren't very massive unless they were in a castle. And when you have a room that's pretty large, you need support over it, i.e. to hold the ceiling up. That's where the pillars usually come in mind. I'm sorry, Blue Mage. Yeah, it does shift up a lot for everyone, doesn't it? Do you get the idea of this, Hydra? It's really fun in that regard. What's also cool is you can select, say, the snow environment and then generate a cave system in the snow environment, which has a totally different set of terrain paints. So you can make a snow cave. This kind of feels like an ice cave, but let's make it even more snowy feeling. You could fill the whole area with ice if you want. Notice the walls are starting to turn into ice instead of rock. So this is like a whole ice cave instead of like just kind of like a cold cave with an ice, a snowy river in it. No worries. I'm glad you wishlisted it and are checking out the demo. It means a lot to me that you're scoping out our product because we're just like an indie team. We're a small company. It's like a team of 10 people. So we really appreciate when people check us out on stream and check out our demo, and especially wishlist it because it means you're interested. You want to get it when you can. And I understand, and everything is rough all around, man. A lot of people are like, struggling. There's like the work environment's rough. Like I live in Vegas, right? And Vegas right now, unemployment's at like an all-time high and tourism is down. Don't really want to get into all that, but let's just say that overall things are rough for a lot of people. So I understand if buying a tool to make maps isn't high priority on your budget list at the moment. You need some vanilla? Okay. We could add some snow. I do like making ice caves. They're one of my favorite. But you see what I mean? Like in just a few moments, we turn this environment, right? There should be a Wampa in here. Ice caves, Donkey Kong, yeah, for sure, right? Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. I have a game this coming Sunday. I'm really hyped. Though I'm a little bummed. One of our players is kind of going through like a personal kind of bit of drama and crisis, so they probably won't be able to make this session, which is a bummer. So I want to help them out, and hopefully they're able to sort their stuff out soon. Just sucks when life gets in the way, Am I doing puns? I didn't even realize it. See, my dad like abilities just creep out, and I don't even realize it at all. I'm really sorry. What should I put here? Maybe a tree? Let's just put some more graves for a bit. I think the problem is I don't really know how to lay. Oh my goodness, what the heck was that? What in the? Right? That just shows how much I've scaled down the graves because I wanted them to feel really packed in here. Giant section, right? I mean, how many graves do you think are along this edge here and through this section? Several hundred, I imagine. Couple hundred. I think when I'm done with the map, I'm going to count all the graves to get a grave count. Like export it at 300 DPI and just see. Bringing that over a little bit because I'm probably going to put a fence here-ish along the inside. Yeah, we could probably just have a walkway going along this. Got to start getting creative when you start doing all these weird angles. And that's like the part that I enjoy the most, but at the same time, it's tricky. Like, look over here. These graves took a while to figure out how to fit them all in because it's like a bunch of different angles. Like playing Tetris with graves. Deadtris, if you will. Autumn, welcome to the stream. My name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. It's a map making tool and immersion utility that allows you to build detailed maps for your tabletop campaigns like D&D or Pathfinder, etc. It's primarily a fantasy aesthetic. So you build maps and then you export the maps for your playstyle of choice. Whether you play in person, maybe you want to print a custom game mat or print a take a digital file and put it on a TV tabletop or a projector tabletop, or maybe take it to a print shop to get like a poster printer, even print it on your own home printer. Alternatively, you can export for virtual tabletops for online play like Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, Roll20, Above VTT, and more. It's a very easy tool to use. You can make maps in moments. You can generate environments, just a few drop downs, change a few settings, click generate map, and it's good to go. Same with generating rooms and environments, or you can roll up your sleeves and build everything like by hand, like I'm doing right now. I actually prefer to do everything kind of meticulously by hand because I like the level of detail and customization it offers. But if you need a quick, easy fix, maybe you don't have time for session prep and need a quick map, or your players through your session prep plans in the blender because they wanted to go somewhere else, you can generate a quick map and a fix. The import files, as far as that's concerned, you can import several different types of files into Dungeon Alchemist to supplement your maps and make them more detailed. You can import images into, say, like paintings. So if you have a painting on a wall, like this one here, you can insert an image into it and have a custom painting. So you could have like player portraits in it, or like a wanted poster. And we have hundreds of objects that interface with that, not just paintings, but signs, paper, etc. There's also customizable objects like these. They're called abstracts that you can insert custom images in to make custom images, or like objects. So like here, I just put a magic circle in this to make a custom magic circle for the map. Alternatively, you can import images into your map to trace older maps. So if you have a hand-drawn map or a map from a book or a module or something you found online, you can import it and trace it, or have overlays like, like a legend talking about what's what in the map. Like this dot here is the hotel, this dot here is the shop, this dot here is the city hall. You can label different buildings, et cetera, et cetera. And then lastly, you can import 3D objects, several different types. Let me show you the overlay thing. So let's say I wanted to label, like the chapel here. Or I wanted to have a map that I'm tracing. I could import a map and use it as a trace. So I could use it as a reference if I hand drew or had like an actual reference map. Lastly, you can import 3D objects through our asset importer, which is located under the Steam Workshop tab. You can click Asset Importer and import 3D assets. So files that are STL, FBX, or GLTF/GLB files all can be imported to Dungeon Alchemist. Our community has shared over, like 10,000 assets now, and there is an access to them through the Steam Workshop. So you can upload assets into Dungeon Alchemist and share them on the workshop, or keep them for personal use. Or you can download assets from the workshop and use them in your maps. Keep in mind, assets shared on the workshop, their quality and size vary drastically. So like this wanted poster is less than 1/4 MB, right? This hanging wall ivy is 44 megabytes. So take it with a grain of salt. Some assets aren't as well optimized because they're community provided, and they may end up causing your performance in Dungeon Alchemist to tank if you download some bad ones that are like poorly optimized, or if you download hundreds of thousands of assets without any restriction. So keep in mind, it's usually best to just download assets as you need them for a build, and then unsubscribe from them and then get new ones as you go. If you ever want to open an old map that you've worked on before, it'll automatically open the assets and download them if you need them again. But yeah, when you upload assets to the workshop, I recommend keeping them under 25 megabytes and only downloading ones that are under 25 megabytes. If you can download ones that are 10 megabytes and under, you could have over, 1,000 assets at your disposal if you have enough RAM to load them up, because they kind of load they load locally to verify that you're subscribed to them. It's kind of a weird process. Anyway, oh, the 20% off just ended like 20 minutes ago. I am so sorry. Literally, the Steam sale ended. I should have removed the watermark by now. That's on me. That being said, unfortunately, yeah, it ended at 10 a.m. Adam, I apologize. We should be on sale again, hopefully by winter sale, which is like a month or two from now. We typically participate in every Steam sale. But yeah, the sale went from like it ended at 10 a.m. just 20 minutes ago, so my bad. Which... holy cow, we've got Majin Buu in here. Boo! One of my favorite Dragon Ball characters by a long shot. Anyway, that being said, yeah, they can be used. So you make the maps and then you export them for your play style of choice. So if you're playing online through like a virtual tabletop like Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, Roll20, we offer direct export compatibility with a number of different tools, including those. Or you can export your map for print, so you can print it locally or take the digital file to a print shop or export it through our print partner Kraken War Games, and they'll make a custom game mat and ship it to you. Alternatively, you can export the digital file as like a JPEG or a looped video, so like an animated file, and play it on TV tabletops or projector tabletops for local play. What is it?
Who want candy?
TV tabletops are pretty cool, but yeah, like they can cost a good amount of money if you're buying them pre-made. If you make your own, I've seen people just take a spare TV and put it on like a PVC frame they made for like 20 bucks. I like that your name is pink and you got all the boo emotes. That's awesome. That's tops. Welcome to the stream, by the way. My name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist, which is the tool you're seeing in front of you. If you have any questions about Dungeon Alchemist, the stream is hosted in AMA format, which means ask me anything. So you can ask questions related to Dungeon Alchemist, and I will do my best to provide you with real-time support and guidance. No, there's no AI used to create that kind of stuff. So Dungeon Alchemist does use AI, but it's not generative AI and it's not a server farm AI. It's like last gen AI. It's procedural AI that is not only developed entirely in-house using our own private data sets, our own maps, and our own assets created entirely in-house by our own talented team of artists. So at no time is any public data, art, maps, or anything used to in the development or use of our AI to generate maps. So while we do, for instance, have Steam Workshop support with assets from our user community, none of those assets or maps, by the way, are used to train the room generation or environment generation AI. We took a very ethical approach in creating our AI, and we feel, not only not using public data to train it, but also, having it run locally on your own machine instead of a server farm that's, guzzling up water and energy like crazy is a great alternative. It has a very specific focus, which is making maps and generating rooms, and it does really good at it. Yeah, it can make random maps, or you can do everything by hand like I'm doing right now. So you can build entirely by hand or generate entirely random maps. Let me show you. I'll let you make a map, okay? Here, let me save one more time. I want to always be saving. Okay, so we're going to make a new map. Hey, Lazarus, I like that. Artists in-house. Assets in-house. So we're going to make an environment. I want you to pick the terrain. So we have all these different terrain options. Let's avoid dark parchment and green screen because those aren't terrain-based biomes. They're background biomes. Green screen is to, like, if you want to capture animated assets or like a building and then remove the green later in a photo or video editor. And then the dark parchment's really just to highlight the interiors of spaces, not environments. So pick one. From Badlands to Snow. Badlands? Okay, we'll do Badlands. Next, you can pick the map size as long as you're in digital, but we're just going to do 40 by 40 to keep it quick. You can say, hey, I want a cave system, or you can pick any of these different ones. I will say the Badlands looks pretty good with Mesa or the canyons. Those are two of my favorites, at least. But you can pick any one you want from there. Cave system, it generates like a caves for you as well. So pick one of those elevation options. Mesa, we'll do Mesa, and then you could pick some options for vegetation. No vegetation, cacti, or dry brush. Dry, okay. And then do you want to have like a river, oasis, or maybe some lava flows or no water at all? Like a dry, dead environment? You could do a lakeside or an island even if you wanted to. Lava lake, let's do it. We'll leave the weather at no because really the only option is snow, and that's out of place in the Badlands right now. We don't have we're going to be adding more weather options later. Now, the default room placement setting just is where the rooms will go when you start creating them. You can raise and lower rooms if you want, but the default setting is at water level, or you can raise it up or higher. Usually leaving it at water level is ideal because most people tend to have their homes by that. In the future, we'll definitely be adding more, well, in a Badlands area, but yeah, it will be adding more weather options as we continue our development. So here we just generated a Badlands environment with a lava lake in the center. Let me turn on the animated environment because I disabled that earlier. I have an animated lava lake, and that just took moments to generate. We got all these mesas and dry brush. Okay. Let's say I don't really like the lava and I want to get rid of it. I could just say no liquids and generate just the environment. Or I could run a river through it and generate that. So when you export your map, you mean like a hex grid, right? Or do you mean like regional environments? Because hexes can be interpreted as two different things. So you can overlay a grid on Dungeon Alchemist, right? You can overlay a square grid or a hex grid. And the hex grid actually has the unique property of being able to be resized. So it is ideal to be used for regional tiles. Keep in mind, though, if you play online through like a virtual tabletop, their grid tools are far superior to this. You probably want to export without a grid present and just use the grid tools in a virtual tabletop. If you're playing in person on a TV tabletop or printing the map, yeah, you want to do the grid on it so you have a reference. But you can render the grid on top of everything or under objects, and then essentially treat it like a regional environment instead of a local environment. Do you play with a virtual tabletop, Majin? Or do you play in person? Like, how do you play your tabletop game? Or plan to, I should say. Keep in mind, you can only resize the hex grid, not the square grid, unless you do it through your virtual tabletop. So if you play on like Foundry, for instance, or Roll20, just disable the grid, export with no grid, and use the grid tools that are local to that virtual tabletop. So with Roll20, you'd want to use their grid tools, but if you play in person with like a printed map or a TV tabletop, you'd use our grid tools. Let's generate a new environment really quick to get out of Badlands, but you see how quick and easy that is, Majin? Man, it's so funny. That's my cat's nickname, by the way, because he's a sorry, what are the... Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember the name of him. A Maine Coon, right? And he has this pattern on his above his eyebrow that looks like the M, the Majin M, right? And so we call him Majin Purr. Yeah, hilarious. Why did I generate a forest with a lava lake? That's on me. It's my bad. Let's do a river. I also like that when you're in the map, you can shift it around if you're not happy with what it generated. What I also wanted to show you, Majin, is the room generation. So let's say you wanted to put like a witch's hut in the forest. You can shape the floor plan. You can give it diagonal walls, round walls, concave or convex bites, by the way. So let's say we wanted to make a little diagonal kind of pointed witch hut, and then we'll rotate it into this corner a little bit, raise it a little bit up so it has like a bit of a foundation, and then generate it. Yes, you can do taverns. There's hundreds of room options, right? Of course. But one of them in here is tavern, okay? And in tavern, we have a whole breakdown of different options. You could generate like a great hall. In our demo, by the way, Majin, you can use the tavern room type in the forest biome, so you can try Dungeon Alchemist for free on Steam, and it allows you to play in this biome and create taverns. But let's hurry and just do like a weird shape, right? And then I'll generate the Great Hall. Generated without objects. What is going on in this build? I'll just regen. What's up? Square one. Plugged it out. Okay, I have objects on, right? Am I crazy? That, or I'm just gonna regen the map. Something's bugged with this. I'm gonna do it twice. Keep in mind, and I'll admit it, we're in early access, so Dungeon Alchemist is still a work in progress. We have at least 4.5 major updates until we leave early access. So during that time, there's a lot of work to be done, changes and adjustments to be made. Okay, there it generated with something. I'm gonna put a little latrine in this back corner here. You can just generate rooms really quickly if you want. And if it isn't the way you like it, you can regenerate it and hope it generates it the way you want, or you can add objects custom to put in stuff you want it to be in of like a very specific layout or design. Do I have American floors on? Why? You can't generate the entire environment with all the rooms simultaneously. You have to generate the rooms one at a time. In the future, one of our updates planned is called Instant Dungeons. It'll probably be one of the last couple updates we do, like a capstone, if you will. And that will allow you to generate entire dungeons, possibly even towns or cities at once. That's definitely planned down the road, though. That being said, Majin, you can also go on the workshop and pretty much have instant castles or dungeons. There's over 12,000 maps shared by our community. So let's say you just want like a dungeon. You can search one and download one really quickly and use that if you'd want instead of making one, saving you tons of time. So if you don't really need a particular style that's something you want to make, you could just grab one from the workshop, or maybe you're running a very known like particular setting. So here is Dungeon of the Mad Mage level 1. It's all done for you. So if you're running a popular setting, it may already exist on the workshop. One that I like to search is Lost Mines. Very popular, campaign module. A lot of people play Lost Mines of Phandelver. So our community has shared hundreds of thousands of maps to save you a tremendous amount of time if you don't have the time to make it or just don't want to. Yeah, so people can share them. It's optional. You can share maps that you make on the Steam Workshop. So through this tab here in Dungeon Alchemist. In the demo, you can't browse maps, but in the full version, you can browse or share maps. So like myself, I've shared, or I'm subbed to a bunch, but I've shared, a few dozen maps. Here's one I made, a cave map that you can check out. So people will share maps, people can download them, upvote them, comment on them through Steam. You can browse them through the Steam Workshop interface on Steam or through the Steam Workshop interface in Dungeon Alchemist. And when you subscribe to the map, it opens the map up, prompts you to download any assets that are in it that are, you can also share 3D models on the workshop. So we have over 12,000 maps and over 10,000 3D models shared by our community. So let's say you want to make a Cyberpunk map or a Fallout map. You can download a bunch of assets from the workshop, use the Dungeon Alchemist toolset, and put in a bunch of custom objects that aren't included in our fantasy kind of object set. Right? Where was it 10 years ago? Well, I think it was kind of in the brains of our developers. Does anyone have any more questions about this while we're on the, what the kind of things Dungeon Alchemist can do? This is a map I made a couple years ago to celebrate the launch of an update we had called Everything is Lava. Yeah, no worries. If you have any other questions, let me know. That's what I'm here for. Let's get back to building our cemetery, though, because I want to make sure we get as much of that done today as we can. So Belladonna, the next Damn Challenge stream is this Saturday because we had to postpone last Saturdays to this week, right? So it'll be on the 11th is the next Damn Challenge. During the Damn Challenge stream, after we, showcase the winning map and a couple others, we usually, as a group, pick a theme. People will suggest them in chat, and then we get everyone to kind of vote on it and then pick a theme, right? So essentially, during that stream, we pick a theme, and then by Monday in the Damn Challenge channel, I'll announce the winner and the theme in the chat with like a post, like I do every couple of weeks. So essentially, there'll be a post sharing the winner and then announcing the next theme and then the due dates. I was hoping It's kind of a bummer because the way it lined up before, we would have had one for Halloween, basically, was the due date. So we could have had a damn challenge on the 1st of next month from Halloween maps. But I guess this way we get to get them done before Halloween, right? So basically, I'm assuming the next theme will be Halloween. Usually when we have a holiday and it lines up, kind of like this, we do that. You know, I played a lot of Diablo growing up, so I could see how it inspires my map making style. Like I grew up on Diablo. The cow level was my best friend for a long time. See, and the thing is I wanted a map on our, I'm going to put this map on the workshop for anyone to use, but I wanted a map to feel massive, right? And feel kind of like an endless sprawl of graves, right? So I wanted, this map is probably one of the largest ones I've ever made, 85 by 82. And it just kind of keeps going and going. By the way, next Monday, I think I'm going to be working on a different map for at least the next couple Mapmaker Mondays. I'm doing a collaboration with SAC. We're going to remaster our Hocus Pocus map that we made a few years ago. For any of you not familiar, Hocus Pocus is it's a Disney movie. They've made 2 of them now. They made another one a couple years ago. Very old, kind of came out in the 90s, right? I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. Super funny film, right? So for anyone who is familiar, you've probably seen the map or, you know, seen the movie, obviously, but we made this build several years ago in Dungeon Alchemist before there was multi-level, right? And roofing. And before you could raise objects up and down. And a lot of things in this, we had to kind of find workarounds to make it work. Yes, the dam schedule is traded weekends with the dam stream and the dam's challenge have flip-flopped now. So they're opposites. So the Saturday that used to be the dam stream is now the dam challenge. I've updated the events in our Discord to reflect that. So myself and SAC did a collaboration on this one a few years ago, and we did what we call a hot dam. Kind of like hot potato, but one of you starts on the map, you work on it a little bit, and then you pass it to the next person, they work on it a little bit. You keep passing the dam file back and forth, hot dam. So we made this before multi-level was a thing, and it was tricky to do. To raise these cages up into the air was like next to impossible to do. So myself and SAC are going to be doing this build again. Look at our book. We put a little eye on it. We put like objects on it to make it look all custom. Hook! And then there's our black flame candle. Anyway, we went through and kind of decorated it out, and we only used reference material we could find online or screenshots from the movie to, like, you know, blueprints and stuff to get an idea of the layout of the house. The Black Cat Curse. Twist the bones and bend the back. Anyway, so we do a lot of fun stuff with this, but we couldn't do a proper upstairs or a downstairs like in Hocus Pocus 2. There's a cellar underneath. That's like a new area they added. So this year we're going to redo this map, and we're working on it together. We're kind of getting the layout because SAC found some cool maps that are the original set design map layouts that were sold in an auction. So we found some screenshots of them so we can kind of reference the overall like layout of the design of the area. So basically the graveyard and kind of surrounding area to the home is what we're going to design all in one. But this is like a 3-year-old map at this point, and we did, I think, really good at the time. Hey, Arteris, how you doing? Welcome back. So we're going to be revisiting this map and redesigning it. I'm going to be working it on Mapmaker Monday the next couple of Mondays. Wonderful, wonderful, actually. And I even made tokens for this back in the day. I made each of the Sanderson sisters. I think I did a pretty good job. Yeah, unfortunately, they don't load for anyone but me, but we did share the links for them so you could, get them from the Hero Forge store if you want them. But yeah, I made these custom too on Hero Forge, and I think I did a pretty good job. I really captured their energy. Anyway, this will be redesigned and released again. You can use it for your Halloween one-shots or whatever you want. Hopefully we have it done before Halloween. That's the plan. And so we'll be doing, Halloween themed builds, obviously, until we launch, or until Halloween, not till we launch. And then also I'll be doing some costume streams. Yep, this is the Hocus Pocus house. And like I said, we're going to be remastering it, myself and Sack. We built this about 3 years ago. It's time to remake it now that we've got multi-level, right? So we can do a proper multi-level and a roof. Shoot, I don't know when daylight savings is in the US. I'll have to look. I just know it. My phone and everything pretty much does it automatically now, so I barely remember it. But yeah, we have a bunch of reference material, including like layout design of the entire like set design for like the graveyard and the house and everything around it. It's gonna be fun. Atlam, I'm sorry, I don't know. When is daylight savings US? So, yep, it's the second. It's the second. It is. Just double checked. Honestly, I mean, the sequel definitely wasn't as good, but here's my thing. It didn't need a sequel. But I do like Sam Richardson as an actor, and I'm glad he got to be in a movie. He's a pretty funny comedian. And additionally, seeing the Sanderson sisters on stage or like on the screen again was fun, but it definitely was a pandemic movie. Like, it was made during the pandemic. All of the actresses, like, it's been a while since they've been acting, so it's like kind of just felt like their acting wasn't as up to par. I don't think their age had anything to do with it. I think just they hadn't all three of them hadn't really acted in a while, right? So I enjoyed the sequel because I'm just a fan of Hocus Pocus as a whole, right? I saw it for what it was. I like that they didn't recast them. They could have very easily. That's kind of Disney's way to do things, to cop out. But I love that they came back and they kind of made sense of how they felt older because they didn't really get to feed, properly, right? The story was silly. It's meant for kids. I mean, the first movie we came out when when I was a kid in the 90s, I was like 7 or 8 when it came out. So I imagine it's probably tuned towards that genre, that age group, but to give the nostalgia feedback mechanism to all the parents that showed it to their kids in the 90s, and also the kids that are now that are the millennials from that era that are now having their own families and kids. So I mean, in that regard, it did good, but it went straight to streaming. There was no theater release. Definitely a pandemic film. I think the quality of writing and both like filming and a lot of things went to sound sets instead of like real sets and stuff. It's changed dramatically. And what is it with TV shows and movies the last few years where it's like they're afraid to put light on the screen? Like anytime it's dark, you can't see anything or make out anyone's faces or any details. Am I the only person that's noticed that? Star Wars, Marvel, Lord of the Rings, like the LODs that they use for the data sets for the video are so dark it probably is only visible on their editing screen in the production room. Not the average TV. I dislike it too, Blue Mage, but yeah, the licensing agreement with Hero Forge, it's like they don't want all these tokens going out to thousands of people who didn't pay for them. So it makes sense. Honestly, I hope that they do away with daylight savings soon in the US. There was talks about it because it's like an outdated, like, kind of concept that, if I'm not mistaken, was originally designed to help farmers get the maximum use out of their like crop season, which like that made sense back in the day when there wasn't like, you know, huge tractors and things that can put light over an entire field. There's literally a company, a startup now that can direct satellite mirrors to put light over an area for you if you want, or you can add huge like stadium lighting to a field, you know, like Field of Dreams style if you wanted to. So I think nowadays, like working at night and like early morning, it's easier to do without, because now like bulbs and like the over like equipment, it makes it easier and safer. They're making a third one? How? You know what? It's fine. I'm cool with it. You know, maybe there'll be a bit better production and acting quality because it's not a pandemic movie and they've, you know, got a bit more practice now from the last film. But arguably, each of those ladies at that point were like, they were acting a ton in the late 80s, early 90s leading up to that movie. So they were just like well practiced, right? Hey, Vaco, how you doing? Welcome back. This area is... whoa! Again with the big graves. Again with the big graves. What's this guy about? Okay. That's my Zoidberg. Awful Zoid. Hi, Hero. Welcome back. I mean, I feel like most, you know, production companies aren't really doing much in the way of production anymore and like writing, and they're kind of just making sequels or like remastering movies and like, you know what I mean? Like they're taking the safe route, like sticking with Marvel, sticking with, you know, DC, established franchises or bust. You know what I mean? There's not many original new movies anymore. Bums me out. Also, I will huff and puff how most TV series only have like 8 episodes a season now. That bugs me. That makes me a sad panda. I liked when we get like 20, 30 episodes a season, so you can have some episodes that are like a waste, that are more like character development or little things on the side that isn't like every episode is an overarching plot episode that stresses you out more than the previous one. Oh my gosh, Canary, I am so sorry. This last week I was down a computer, so I was completely flummoxed and trying to deal with that. I barely had any time to deal with regular life. My wife was so mad because I was just so dealing with the computer all week, and all our plans got thrown in the toilet. So I apologize for not looking at that. I owe y'all an apology. I'll check it out this week for sure, especially now that at least it's limping along and working. Oh my gosh. Yeah, right, Wicker Jack. Okay, if you're gonna do streaming, if it's only 10 episodes or 8, drop them all at once so I can binge them. Do not spread them out, because you know what I'll do? I'll get a month, I'll cancel after that month, and then I'll come back 5 months later when you drop it again. Because I don't do all the streaming services at once, because it's like paying for cable and satellite again. It used to be the good deal, and it was like, if you do this, you don't need to worry about satellite or cable because it has a good library and you can deal with it. But now their libraries are all split up, their prices are all so high. I do one streaming service at a time paired with Amazon Prime. So 2, I guess. Amazon Prime, though, not that great of a streaming service. I just have the service because, you know, I get all my packages in a day or 2 days, and then I get some free video games every month, which is pretty cool. But the bonus is there is some TV shows and movies that I can watch there. But I'll typically, like we just had Disney Plus and just canceled it because we wanted to, like Disney Plus and Hulu are one now, so it's like one big thing, easy. But like I think next month I'm either gonna have Netflix or probably HBO Max. That's how I do it. I'll put a little calendar notification on my phone to cancel it, sign up with a new one. And once you're signed up with all of them, you just come back and resubscribe, so you don't have to re-sign up. It has all your stuff on file. They want you to come back. And sometimes when you cancel, they'll give you a month or 2 for free or at a really big discount. Canary, I apologize. Honestly, I did not plan on my stream computer dying this last week, in my defense. Like, it was definitely something that threw me for a loop. Can you DM me all those links that you posted in Off Topic in Discord? That way I have them front and center after stream today, so I can take a look at them, hopefully in the next couple of days. Honestly, I've set up my own media server. Like some people use like Plex. I just use like Windows Basic Media Server. And you can stream like all of my Xboxes all see the server, my TVs all see it that have networking, and so I can just open it up and play all my music or see all my pictures or any of my movies and TV shows that I have ripped. So I ripped my entire physical library, and now when I want a new show that's coming out, I'll try and get it physical and just rip it. So I have the backup of the physical copy, and then I have a digital library. So Highland Lass, I don't know if they do it in your country, but if you go to primegaming. Here, I'll give you a link. Here, Highland Lass, but here, I'll just pull it up, like you can see here. They have a website that's like, they have a bunch of different things. You get like free books and free music and a few other things every month, but you get free games every month and you can claim the games. Some of them are through Epic, some of them are through like Microsoft, some of them are through GOG, some of them are through Amazon's own gaming platform, and some of them are through another company called Legacy Games. But every week they have new games. So in the last month, I've gotten some old Dungeons and Dragons games, Civ games. Like here's the original Spelljammer game that I claimed last month. Physical media, though, if you can hold on to your physical media, or if you have it just sitting on a shelf collecting dust, back it up. Rip your content. It's your right. You can make copies, backups of your content to back it up just in case something happens, a flood, a fire, or it degrades. Your DVDs, you do not know this, your Blu-rays, they will rot just sitting there. I'm pretty sure this is by design, but the chemicals in them slowly degrade the disc and the data side of the label and destroy it. A bunch of my movies just rotted away. But yeah, my whole music collection from when I was like a kid all the way through my late teens, all digitized, all my movies. And now anytime I want a new movie, I will just buy it physical. You know, I don't mind DVD quality. I prefer Blu-ray, but if they have a DVD, I'll buy that and rip that. If not, Blu-ray. No! Oh my gosh. Belladonna, and it's so hard to rip it if it's got like a scratch or even like a scuff. I do have the extended edition cuts. I know, I love them. Oh my gosh, they take up so much space in my media server. VHS too, yeah, they're starting to get popular. I've seen some sealed VHS sell for thousands of dollars on eBay. Even unsealed VHS are starting to go. Oh, by the way, VHS get mold on the tape. You could see it inside the little reel where the view window is. So look out for that too. Yeah, some people still have sealed VHS out there. That's crazy, right? But yeah, just search Prime Gaming Highland Lass. That should get you what you need to find it. All of you, if you have Prime, search it, and it should just allow you to log in. You have a box of sealed VHS? That's your retirement fund, Milk Toast. There you go. You're set. It's a millennial retirement fund right there. How you doing today, my friend? Welcome back. Right? The Beanie Baby is all busted. I feel like Labubu is going to do the same thing. Like, everyone's crazy about Labubu right now. They're just, they're Gen Z Beanie Babies is how I see them. But VHS, here's the reason I think it became collectible, is because over time when the format got replaced, people started throwing out their old collections. Rental stores threw them away en masse to go to the new DVD and Blu-ray formats when they came out. So all those old formats disappeared from people's homes because they're just like, I'm just gonna replace it. So a lot of people did that. Or you came into a generation where you didn't buy VHS, you bought DVDs to start or Blu-rays to start. So, like, I love collecting vinyl records. I love them because my family had them growing up. We had a record player. I think they're fun. And I buy vinyl of any artist that I love, that if they sell a vinyl option, I'll buy that and a CD. I'll rip the CD as a backup, put it on the shelf as a hard backup, and then I have the record to play on my record player. I enjoy vinyl. But like in my generation, vinyl was like being phased out, wasn't sold in record stores unless it was used. But then there was such an interest in it and people started printing records again. So I think that some lost media, as it becomes lost media, people start collecting it because it's no longer around. People are throwing it away, donating it to Goodwill, starts showing up in thrift shops, and then people will collect that and then hold on to it, and then it becomes a collector item, even though it was mass produced at the time. But now it's becoming less and less available because when people replaced it with tapes or CDs or Blu-rays or, you know, DVDs, they threw out the old ones. Milk Toast, thank you for that donut. Much appreciated. Still have your record collection? Awesome. Yeah, I have like over 300 records, which I find fascinating for someone my age because, you know, I'm not even 40 and I have like a bunch of records. Also have a bunch of CDs. But yeah, if you can back up your stuff to a hard drive, you know, several drives and set up a media server, it's so nice because you can just access it from most of your modern devices like your smart TVs and consoles, and it is so straightforward to just be at home and pull up your media server and watch whatever you want, not have to browse through endless stream channels. They're like, wait, what do they have available? Do they have this? Oh, they only have the first season of this, whatever, you know? Oh, you have a lot of Disney? Dang, that's cool, Milk Toast. That is cool. Especially if they're sealed. Those could go for a lot later. You just got done painting. What you painting, my friend? Looking good. You know, I didn't really inherit them because my mom just gave them to me because she was going to throw them out. She was just getting rid of them. So I took them. Same with my neighbor. So I guess I inherited them in that way, but they just gave them to me because I wanted to keep them. Saving for the kids, nice. And a sign for Legoland in Cali, nice. I've never been to Legoland. I've always wanted to go. It sounds like such a cool place. Hey, see you later, Rev. Have a good day, okay, man? Stay safe. Oh, man, I just noticed it's past the hour, too, so we probably got to wrap up. I'm going to put in, like, one more row of graves, okay? Yeah, I feel like Disneyland's overrated. Like, it's fun, don't get me wrong, but I do feel like it's way outdated and kind of like packed. And so you wait in line most of the day. You don't ride rides. Like if they cut admission down to like by a third less, you'd be able to enjoy it a lot more. The restaurants wouldn't be packed, rides wouldn't be packed, and not to mention most of the rides are like almost like getting up to 100 years old now. Some of them, you know, like dang. So the stream, do you mean to all streams or depends on the day? So today's stream went live at 9 a.m. Mapmaker Monday always starts at 9 a.m. Pacific. That's 12 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. UTC or 4 p.m. UTC, I mean. In Discord, the event shows the time it goes live. It'll say when it's live too, typically. If you're subscribed to the events in Discord, it also gives you a notification when it goes live. Let me show you. So if you notice here, it says Mapmaker Monday happening now. Only Wednesday's stream is in Discord. So Wednesday is a Discord office hour stream, but the other two streams on Monday and Saturday are multi-streams on our other platforms. So they're on Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Steam on Monday and Saturday, and on Wednesday is Discord only. But the events, there's reminders in Discord. So if you look here, it says events, right? You click for events, so you could see Mapmaker Monday happening now. It says the dates it happens, and if you click on the event, you can see more information. Current build, Ancient Cemetery, and all the places it's live at. So our TikTok, etc. Or if you go down to the next event, Office Hours, which is Wednesday, you can click on that. That's actually in our Discord. Canary, you jumped over to ask about that? Dang. Asgard, you know what? That's a known issue, and the devs are looking into a solution. They tried to patch most of that out. The best methodology right now to work around that is shifting your workflow just slightly, okay? So if you, instead of generating a room and spending time decorating a room and then generating an adjacent room or an above room, generate the floor plan, get it all set up, and then do the decorating, the fine detailing after you've got the floor plan set up. For now, at least, until this has been sorted. For the most part, it generally doesn't happen, but there are some outlier issues where it does happen. So we're trying to figure out why and to prevent it. But I encourage you all to come look at our events section in our Discord and click interested on each of the events, because it'll give you a reminder when they go live. Essentially like a little notification in your Discord app or on your computer if you have Discord open. Okay? I know my mom has like a mountain of Disney VHS just stuffed in drawers at her house. Okay. I think today we got a pretty good amount of build. Even, you know, despite we, you know, got a little distracted here and there, chit-chatting about this stuff or providing support, which I don't mind at all. That's the point of the streams. Just sometimes I don't necessarily get to focus on the build the whole stream, as many of you know. But I think all things considered, we actually got a lot of graves in. I essentially added this whole new section here and all this. and the stream did not crash, which is a win. Okay, my stream computer is literally limping along with a fourth as much RAM, and I think the motherboard's on its way out. So hopefully by next week, we'll have a new stream PC to supplement all this. What you on about, Chim? Yeah, Asgard, I'm sorry about that, by the way. You know, I wish I had a better solution. But the devs are likely going to patch that sooner than later. Thinking of Graves a really coming together. Like it. I love it. Big money, big prizes. I love it. Isn't it? I dare say this is probably going to be one of the largest cemeteries on the workshop when it's done. You could literally run several encounters out of this. I really love this rock for the angles. It is perfect. You can even merge it into the other one if you want, or just set it right to the side there. When rotating via the mouse wheel, you know, there is the mouse wheel only does in increments, right? And depending on the object, its alignments may be drastically different. So when I do it, instead of using the mouse wheel to rotate, right, I'll grab it and do it by hand because it's much smaller increments when you do it by hand. It's like precision. You can kind of eyeball it, get it to where you want, and then copy that one because they'll all copy the alignment of that one. So if you use the mouse, granted, it does it, but it's like quartered increments. So this is like, it's probably doing them in fourths. Yeah. So it's not a perfect alignment. If you do it by hand, it's much different. For sure. All right, everyone, it's time to wrap up the stream. Thank you so much for everyone hanging out with me today on Mapmaker Monday. We made a lot of progress today. And next Mapmaker Monday, we'll be working on the Hocus Pocus build. So we'll be taking a break from the Ancient Cemetery to work on something different. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Appreciate you all so very, very much. Our next stream is on Wednesday. That is office hours. That is Discord exclusive. So it's in our Discord, and it's a live stream only. There's no recordings or VODs of that stream. So it's kind of a had to be there sort of thing. If you can make it, I encourage you to do so. That starts at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. That's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UTC. And that will run for roughly 2.5 hours. During that stream, you can get live AMA support. So Ask Me Anything support related to Dungeon Alchemist. And you can share your map files live on the stream, and I'll open them. We'll take a look at them. Or if you recently uploaded a map on the workshop, we'll open it up and take a look. We love to showcase maps, provide support, and discuss everyone's tabletop campaigns and counter ideas, homebrew, stat, blocks, etc. Map making plans. So if you have any session prep, good session to tune, or good stream to tune in, because we love discussing everyone's upcoming session prep and, you know, prior game sessions. Anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in. Appreciate you all so very, very much. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. See you next time I give a damn. I'm going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad, and then we're going to wrap up the stream, okay? Thank you, everyone, for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you for those links. I did hear the notification for that. I'll check them out. Hopefully today or tomorrow. Monday is usually my busiest day of the week, so I'll try and squeeze it in. If not today, tomorrow. Let's see here. Let's do the...
You stand before the long, dark road to the fabled realm of Goyak-Ta, and before...
What do we see?
I don't know, a goblin.
I kill him.
But before she does, I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to know the goblin's name.
Hi, my name is Woblin.
Where do you live there, Woblin?
I don't think that's relevant.
Well, but I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to seek the goblin's abode.
Clever. Find family. Kill entire bloodline. I like it.
Seriously, we're doing this? Okay, well, won't be needing that anymore, will I?
Ever get caught by your players with your pants down? Dungeon Alchemist lets you create wonderful maps for any encounter in seconds.
Oh, Woblin, that's a very impressive cheese collection you've got there.
Yeah, it is quite impressive, yes. But you know what's more impressive? This map I have
To the fabled realm of Goyak-Ta. Please take it and leave. Close the door behind you.
Mr. Woblin, I cannot help but notice that you have a secret tunnel underneath your cabinet. Care to explain?
Download Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered Mapmaker, on Steam today.
I actually really love that ad too. It was kind of my brainchild idea. Pitched the idea and like the basic outline script, and then the devs loved it and made some alterations to it, added the Woblin bit, and then or the name of Woblin, and then we pitched the idea to One for All, Deerstalker Productions, who does all the One for All clips, the fun little reels and stuff with the D&D characters. They loved it and said, yeah, we'll make it. And so they made it. I love it. They're great, talented group. Very fun to work with them. I hope we get to work with them in the future. They've done 2 ads with us now. Anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager. We'll see you. The community manager for Dungeon Alchemist, I should say. Dungeon Alchemist is available on Steam, where there is a demo where you can try before you buy, test it out on your system, see if it's worth the investment and time for you. And we will be back on Wednesday with our office hours stream at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UTC. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time I give a damn. Mac out. Bye.